Hi there. So there are three main types of muting that you need to be aware of. And we're going to start with the easiest one, which is rests. And that is where you just silence the string. I'm just going to explain what some of the things mean before we begin. And you may well need to come back to this video multiple times before it becomes something that you deeply understand. When I say rest, it means that you're going to silence the note. So if I was playing this note here, I can either silence it with my right hand by touching the string, or I can silence it with my left hand by touching the string like this. That's what a rest is. A rest is that we silence the note. And if I say hold, that means you're going to let the note ring out longer. So instead of going quiet for a beat, you might let it ring out for an extra beat. I'm going to demonstrate exactly what I mean by that and exactly what the on-screen instructions will look like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's an example of what it could look like. On beat 1, I'm going to play E. On beat 2, I'm going to rest. And I've written an R for rest. Beat 3, I'm going to play E, and beat 4, I'm going to hold. And that's why I've written an E with brackets around it, to know that the note is just ringing out. Does that make sense? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, rest. 3, hold. How to do a rest when playing a single note melody. Okay, so what you can see here is beat 1, I'm playing G, which will be done on the thickest string. Beat 2, G again. Beat 3, silence. So that squiggly thing is a 1 beat rest. And then beat 4, I'm going to play A. Let's clap and count the rhythm first. So I will count to 4, I will clap where I play, and I will just stay quiet where I'm resting. So on beat 3, I'm going to do nothing. So let's have a go at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now let's have a try at playing this. So what I'm doing is on the first 2 beats, I'm playing this G note here. On the beat 3, I'm lifting it up, but I'm not taking it off. So I'm still touching the string, but it's no longer pressed down, and that will silence the note. And then on beat 4, strike the open A string. That's the 5th from the floor. So that's how you do a left hand mute. So have a go at that. Now, it's very good practice to play and count something so that you know that you're in time. So let's now play and count it together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beats 1 and 2, we press the string down. Beats 3, we lift it up, but we don't pull the finger away, so it's gently touching to quieten the note. And then beats 4, we're just playing out open A. Here we go, once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. How to mute with your right hand. So what's the first thing we do? That is correct, we do clap the rhythm. Well done. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you play on beat 1, rest on beat 2, play on beat 3, and it holds for beat 4. That's going to be a half note at the end. Okay, so once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. So the note we're playing is D, and that's going to be this open D string here. I'm going to mute the string by placing my palm of my right hand onto the string to dampen it. So it will look like this. Have a go at that. This time, let's do it whilst we count out loud so we know the rhythm is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really take a look at how my palm is going down and roughly where it is on the strings. If the palm's too far back, it won't mute properly, and that's actually the next technique, so don't do that just yet, okay? So it has to be in the right place to silence it, but you don't want to be coming all the way over here because then you won't be able to play what comes next. The next thing I want you to understand is that this same exercise could also be done with a left hand mute as well. So 1, you could touch it there as though you're about to play it, or you could just put a finger across like this or like this, okay? So 1. So how do we know which method to use, whether we use the right hand or the left hand? Well, you've got to look at what comes before that and what comes after that, okay? So if my left hand was needed down here straight afterwards and I was doing some complicated riff like this, right, wouldn't make sense to have it over here muting there, would it? So the key is to plan ahead, to look ahead, look what's available, look what's not available, and make the best decision you can. You may have to try out different ideas and figure out which one felt best. Let's look at an example of how that would work with chords. Let's say I'm gonna do a power chord on fret 5, so that goes 5, 7, 7, right? I'm gonna play beats 1 and 2, and then I'm gonna be quiet on 3 and 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, watch my hand. On beats 1 and 2, I'm holding it down. On beats 3 and 4, I'm lifting it up, but I'm not taking it away. Because if you take it away, you're gonna kill it. Okay? So watch very closely to this left hand. Okay? You can hardly see that my fingers are lifting up, but they are. The string is coming back up again to its natural position, but I'm not removing the finger because that would make this horrible sound that we don't want. What's a good practice to make sure you're getting the rhythm right? I don't know about that. Yes. Let's now play it and count it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Look at you go. I'm so proud of you. Now, what about if we're doing open chords? How's that going to work? Here's a good example of it. Highway to Hell. So it's A, mute. And when I mute, I'm literally like kind of karate chopping it, but not actually, okay? So A, mute. D, G, mute. D, G, mute. D, A, mute. D, G, mute. D, G, mute. D, G, D, A. Have a try at that. A. D, G, D, G, D, G, D, A. Cool. And remember, every time you mute, you're doing this kind of this karate chop onto the strings with the palm. That's the best analogy I can come up with. So again, should we just zoom in on my right hand this time? So it's important that you mute after every phrase on Highway to Hell. So and you can simplify it by going like this. So instead of going all the way to here for the G, just go. So this G, you're keeping your little finger and your ring finger on. So it's kind of a G5 if you really want to be geeky and technical. And you could just strum these 4 strings, right? Okay. So now can you see both hands? One final thing about Highway to Hell is that you could, in theory, mute this A with your left hand, couldn't you? Issue is, left hand now needs to be all the way up here for D. Now do you see how important planning ahead is? Now we're into palm muting, which is where you partially mute the string, but you don't fully mute it. So in order to get that right, what you need to do is you need to gently, slightly touch with your palm. Take a good look at this. So here's no mute. Slightly, very gently touch the string, but really quite far back on the bridge. If you come too far forward, you've deadened it. Okay? Now that you've completely killed the note. Here, still sounds a bit too fuzzy. There's the sweet spot. Notice my palm is right on the bridge. So I'm playing the D string here, the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? This. So first of all, let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what I'd like you to do is to just slightly get this palm just across the bridge. The bridge is this bit here that looks like a bridge. You're just gently touching the string with your palm. Again, playing this D string, the 4th string from the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it's too muted, you need to move back a bit. If you move back too far, well then you won't have any mute, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got that? Now what I want you to do is with your middle finger on your left hand, place it on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string from the floor. 1, 2, 3, okay? And now, what I want you to do is I want you to chug the 4th and 3rd string together. So, like this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. Now, let's put that palm mute on. Great. And then 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, put your ring finger on fret 3 of string 3 and continue to chug these 2 strings, as in to strike the 2 strings together like this. Okay? Now go back to the middle finger. So while you put the ring finger on, consider keeping this middle finger on underneath. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do 8 on fret 2, chugging these 2 strings. And then 8 times on fret 3, again chugging these 2 strings. So it should sound like this. Now with the palm mute. 2, 3, 4. Your turn. Let's go. Palm by the bridge. Middle finger for 8. Ring finger for 8. Back to middle finger for 8. Ring finger to 8. Right, do you feel like a gangster? I thought so. When it comes to palm muting, look out for this. What you'll see is a PM followed by a bunch of little dashes that will go under the notes that are to be palm muted. The moment those little dashes stop, you lift the palm mute away and you go back to playing normally. Now we are into the final chapter. This is where it gets kind of difficult. We're now playing dead notes. So dead notes will appear on the score and the tab as X's. Play C, for example. 1, 2. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm playing beats 1 and beats 2 on the note of C here on fret 3 on the A string. 1, 2, and then I'm lifting this up and I'm striking it while it's muted. So I'm lifting the finger up exactly as I did when we were doing the rests, but now I'm striking it while it's muted. So instead of partially muting it like the palm mute, we're fully muting the string here. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. What would be a good idea to help us make sure we're in rhythm? Correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get this kind of percussive sound. Now that would look like this on the score or the tabs. C, C, X, X. So that X would be written wherever the note is on the tab or the music. So that X would be written on string 5 where you would normally see a note. So what if we're doing an open string? Well, we can actually use the palm to mute it on the right hand, like this. So you press it down to the point where the note is dead. Have a go yourself. On the 4th string, watch very carefully, open D. Could I also mute it with the left hand by just putting a finger on it? Could do, but that depends where we're going next, if I need that finger for some other place in the next bar or the next phrase. Let's do the power chord thing we did at the beginning, but this time with 2 dead notes instead. So we're going to go, instead of playing 1, 2, rest, rest, we're going to go 1, 2, dead, dead. So again, I'm playing it. Lift the fingers up so they're still touching. Just relax the hand. Now let's the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your turn. First without the count and then introduce the count to make sure you're in time. Good, so that's how you do it with power chords or bar chords or any chord that doesn't have open strings. But what do we do if there are open strings? So I can use these available fingers, can't I? So I'm doing G. So what I've done is I lifted these ones up to mute the strings that they were playing, and I used my index finger to just very gently touch the open strings to silence them, okay? So have a go at that. Now what if I need these fingers now to go up to, say, the D chord? It's not really going to work anymore, is it? It might work, but it also might not. So in that case, it might be a good idea for me to go G, G, getting the palm across here to mute it, G, G, D. Because while I'm doing this, while I'm muting it with my palm, I'm giving myself time on the left hand to move. Okay, let's try that, going from G to D, okay? Back to G. Look at you, you're sailing along with your eye patch and your parrot. Okay, advanced students, do you want to have some fun? B minor 7 fret 7. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... That pattern is now repeated on all the chords. So you're going to go B minor 7, D major 7, F sharp minor 7, E. Beginners, please don't try this. Ready? Did you enjoy that? Of course you did.